Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and today's Doctor Who episode is episode 9, It Takes You Away. Oh boy, I wish this episode would take me away to anywhere that's not Doctor Who. Preferably the mighty Boosh, Star Trek Generations, and any number of weird and unusual things, even Krull. You know, I could be watching some Krull right now. Man, this episode of Doctor Who is so all over the place. It is so weird. And it's like they set it out to be a spooky Halloween episode and then backed out halfway through and then decided to be a weird, jumbled mismatch of like 80s sci-fi movies. Like those old adventure ones where you stumble upon one person and they're weird and creepy, and then you stumble upon another thing and then another thing. And that's kind of what this reminded me of. You know, it feels like a first draft. It feels like not a lot of stuff really fits. It feels like this episode's kind of all over the place in tone. They want to set it out to be spooky, but it's really not. They try and make it endearing and heartwarming and have some like family heartstrings sort of moments. No, they don't really go anywhere with those either. It's such a weird, it's an odd episode, and I don't quite know how to feel about it other than maybe giving it probably a 3 out of 10. And that's just because this was kind of a hard one to sit through. It had some really annoying moments. I did not like one of the main sort of guest stars in this episode. And I guess I can go into a mild spoiler on it. It's like a teenage girl. Her acting and her accent was kind of all over the place to me. The accents bother me anyway if they don't really match the accent of the people I'm watching on the show. It kind of sounded like she was trying to do a Norwegian accent, but she's like a Scottish girl trying to do a Norwegian accent. Is kind of what it reminded me of. And I also had to wonder if like they decided. Well, I'll get there once we get more into spoilers. But if they decided once they had this actress, if like they wrote the story around having to hire this actress, or if they had the idea of the story all along, because not a lot of it really makes a lot of sense. But I guess it kind of does. I don't know. This was just a weird episode. Not like it kept reminding me of things I would rather be watching, like Star Trek Generations, Mighty Boosh, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and this just the tone was so here, there, and everywhere in this episode. I don't know. It just kind of left me questioning, what the crap did I just watch? I will never watch this episode again, so I have to give it a low score of a 3 out of 10. It could possibly be a 4. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. It's certainly not the best thing I've seen. It's certainly not an episode of Doctor Who that left me wanting more. It was definitely an episode of Doctor Who that left me kind of wanting to get up, do anything but watch this episode. And it just was not holding my interest. I kept thinking, okay, there's just too many companions on screen, too many people. They are constantly needing to create scenarios where we split up because we have too many people on screen, and we're left with people kind of standing around not having anything to do a lot of the time. Like Yaz felt really useless in this episode. Like it really didn't have anything to do with her. Like she was just along for the ride. And yeah, I think we have too many companions for sure. Also, there's that moment in this episode where the Doctor could have been super badass, super ballsy, super scary, and she wasn't. You know, she kind of went the I'm going to make friends route. And I'll get more into that later as we get into it. And I will link my kind of how to fix Doctor Who video in the description below, where I basically say, yeah, the Doctor needs to kind of have some stones and be scary sometimes, because it's the Doctor. We don't have any of that in this new series of Doctor Who at all. So yeah, that's basically the spoiler section of the review. If you don't want to hear any more and you don't want any spoilers, click the video off right now. And yeah, we're just gonna go right into it for the full spoilers. But like I said, 3 out of 10. This might be an interesting episode just to kind of see what all the fuss is about, why people aren't liking the new Doctor Who. I would probably recommend this episode. You know, we have some of these episodes trying to be Halloween episodes as well. That's kind of what it feels like. They're trying to be a Halloween episode. The Witch episode is trying to be a Halloween episode. Arachnid episode trying to be a Halloween episode. And every time we're failing so miserably. Nothing's scary. Nothing's edgy. Nothing is like, I'm not on the edge of my seat with suspense. I'm looking for anything else to do but watch this episode. I mean, at least the episode last week was pretty good, held my interest until we got to the end where the villain was terrible. And God, this episode. But yeah, let's pull up the screenshots. Right here, yeah, right about there. So full on spoilers part once you see the screenshots up. And yeah, we start out in, Norway. So welcome to Norway, because the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy talked about Norway and fjords and stuff. Is that the only reason why we're in Norway? I think that's the only reason why we're in Norway. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, it's pretty, but yeah, sure. We're in Norway because we got to go different places. Now, this episode did have some kind of weird, goofy doctor moments, but at the same time, it's trying to be scary. So we see the doctor kind of rummaging around and eating dirt to try and sample the soil to find out where she's at. I think she's eating. It looked like she was eating berries. I guess she's eating dirt. So they go from like goofy, stupid doctor moments like that to, oh no, there's a noise out there. There's something in the woods. To, the doctor scanning a sheep to make sure it's not a threat, because I guess in a couple hundred years, sheep are going to be threats. There's going to be some sort of massive wool uprising, and the sheep are going to like be pissed or something. I don't know. So we start off over the top, goofy, and in Norway, but scary at the same time. I don't get it. I don't know. This episode's bad. And of course, they do spend a few minutes setting up this whole spooky cabin in the woods, Evil Dead sort of thing. And they even give us, like, the shot of this deer head that, you think is going to come to life and be spooky. One of those taxidermy ones they mount on the wall. But no, we just get a fake out. Just a fake out. It's just a blind girl with a missing dad, because spooky kid. I mean, the kid's creepy. She's pretty creepy. I'll give you that. She's actually one of the things that was really hard to sit through in this episode, because her accent's all over the place. She sounds like she's a Scottish girl trying to be Norwegian. So it kind of makes me wonder. Okay, so they want this actress. She's blind too. So it's a little blind girl with a missing dad. It kind of feels to me like they wanted like they had the incentive to say, or the instruction to say, hey, we need to have some representation of differently abled people. We have this blind actress, whatever, she might be blind in real life, I don't know. Usually they tend to go with real life blind people to play blind people in TV and movies. So we have this girl, and I don't know if they just had to write the story around her because they wanted some sort of differently abled representation, which is such a huge pet peeve in my opinion when they do that just for woke points. But I don't know. She might not be blind in real life for all I know. I don't know. But it just sits so weird with me because her accent's all over the place. She's kind of creepy. I don't like this kid. She's I don't know. It's anytime she's on screen, I'm just not interested in the whole thing. And of course, her team does a little investigating, and surprise, there's some weird, spooky stuff going on. The mirror's a little weird, just a little bit weird, and I guess the girl's dad's bedroom. So instead of reflecting the image back, it tries to eat you. Just a little weird. They don't have any reflection. There's kind of a funny line that Ryan has saying, "Well, God, I think we know if we were vampires, right?" So it's kind of cute, but like I said, the tone is so all over the place in this series, in this episode especially. Is it funny? Is it supposed to be spooky? Which is it? I don't know. I have no idea. And of course, this is like the most doctor-like thing our latest doctor has done. She decides to, stick her face through the mirror, which is actually not too bad. She wants to see what's on the other side. She's curious. She sticks her face in. And that's very doctor-like. The doctor would be super curious. So that's like probably the most doctor-like thing she's done, especially in this episode. It's weird. It's such a weird episode, though. So, yeah, and again, it's so darkly lit, too. That's another complaint I have. But the doctor, Yaz, and Graham go through the portal, mirror-looking thing. I guess it's a portal now. And Ryan stays back with the girl. He's gonna, watch her, whatever. So, yeah, this is, again, why I kind of feel like we have too many people on screen. Because Yaz kind of doesn't really do anything this whole episode. There's some moments with Ryan. There's some moments with Graham. More moments with Graham. It's more of a Graham episode for sure. And of course, the little girl also has, the connection here to the main story. But yeah, we have too many companions. We just have too many companions. And I like them, but we have too many. So, now, since we went through the mirror universe, we come across this lovely guy. He's a little quirky. He's a little weird. He's... It just makes me think, and this is, again, my biggest problem with this episode. I'm reminded, because of the weird, quirky personality of this guy, his lines, his dialogue, I'm just reminded of the Mighty Boosh. He reminds me of somebody who should be in the Mighty Boosh. Now, and if we have this guy, why didn't we just have Mr. Susan show up from the Mighty Boosh? You know, where there are, you know, many different universes, and, you know, to go through in the mirror. I can't even remember the line. It's been so long. But I remember Mr. Susan. I remember this. He lived in the mirror universe. You know, when you go through the mirror into the... Because the Mighty Boosh gets that the mirror universe is mirrored, you know, like Discovery gets. I'm rambling. I'm definitely rambling on this one. But this is just where my brain goes. I go to, like, the Mighty Boosh instead of this bad guy that we're supposed to be looking at, because he's got the lines that really feel like this is something we would see in the Mighty Boosh. They would go through the mirror, they would wander around, they would meet a weird character, and yeah, this is where we're at with Doctor Who now. This is where we're at with Doctor Who, where they're trying to be funny, trying to be spoopy, whatever. Sure. It just feels off. That's all. It just feels off in Doctor Who. I mean, he's a little interesting, but yeah, he would be better in a Mighty Boosh episode, this guy. Or he kind of looks like a vampire. He kind of looks like a bat. Sure, whatever. And he's got pet moths. Or I guess they're his children. They're his pets. He keeps them. He cares for them. Whatever. It's a little flesh moth, and it eats people. It's kind of cute, though. I mean, I think I've seen moths like this in real life. I think, yeah, they're very big. They're really creepy looking. I don't think I've seen it like in person, but I've seen them like in other things. I'm pretty sure they used real moths for this. They're kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie, but they are really, really creepy. I don't like things that fly at me, so I would probably be really scared of it. But yeah, so for some reason that really doesn't relate to anything, inside of this sort of mirror portal sort of dimension, there's that weird guy and moths that'll eat you. Just for reasons, have nothing to do with anything else. And now, of course, not Mr. Susan there, the guy who should be in Mighty Boosh. You can barely see it because the lighting's terrible in the show. He keeps trying to get the doctor's sonic screwdriver. He keeps trying to, like, bargain with her. But, you know, the doctor's like, oh, okay, we need to not do anything this guy says because he's trying to take stuff from us and he's not very trustworthy. So he tells everybody to run because all these moths show up. And the doctor's like, no, we can't do anything he says. We have to stay still. So, of course, he's, like, super greedy, goes for the sonic screwdriver that's on the ground, and he gets eaten by the moths. So totally pointless for being in the episode. Moths are totally pointless for being in the episode. None of these characters matter or make sense, have anything to do with anything. And this is another reason why this episode is so off-putting. Because there's so much stuff that really doesn't need to be there. They could have taken away that whole little middle section of them just kind of wandering through the mirror universe cave system, talking to this guy. I think they wandered through a couple of times, too. Because it didn't really relate to anything. It didn't really match up with anything. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I was just so distracted by it and by taking notes that I missed it. So if I missed it, definitely tell me in the comment section. But this is such a weird, disjointed episode. All over the place. Just, yeah. So the doctor and companions end up running back through the mirror only to find the girl's dad. Now, we can tell based on this picture that he's inside the mirror still. They're still inside the mirror. They didn't come out the same mirror entrance that they came in. The doctor even like left a sort of a rope tied to so that they can find their way back out. Kind of like how in Stranger Things they would do that, where they get sucked into the portal and get completely lost, and yeah, into the upside down or whatever. That's kind of what this is really feeling like as well. You know, like I should be watching Stranger Things. But not, and oh man, that now I'm even more angry. I might have to change it back to a 2 or something, or down to a 2, because I didn't even think about it until just now. That yeah, this is kind of like when they go into the underground or the upside down or whatever it's called in Stranger Things. Another thing that they're ripping off. Lovely. Whatever. So her dad's in the mirror. Whatever. But of course, the dead wife is alive and well inside the mirror. Yay! Because the little girl and the dad lived alone in the woods or whatever, and there's scary stuff out in the woods. But he's in the mirror with the dead wife, the girl's dead mother. Sure, because of course, I know. Of course, his Slayer shirt's backwards. They don't even mention it. It's just a little detail that they probably had a line about that they cut out. But yeah, that's how we know we're still inside the mirror and whatever. And of course, guess who else is alive and well? Graham's wife, Ryan's grandmother, Grace. Yeah, she's alive and well. So here's the thing, though. If she's alive and well in here, why didn't they tie this in to the episode with the arachnids in the UK or whatever it was, where he was actually physically seeing her? Couldn't they have tied that together here where it's like that universe calling to him? Because, we are in the full spoiler section. This is basically a manifestation of a universe, of an intelligent creator of a universe, of a god, basically, of like Oprah or God or whatever you want to call it. So why couldn't that episode be tied into this episode where he physically sees her and they just kind of ignore it, where you just kind of have to justify it in your head? Oh, well, he's probably just having a memory or a flashback. And that really stood out on that Arachnids in the UK episode for me, that we saw her on screen, but we didn't have any sort of explanation of, was it in his head? Was it something else? They could have really tied that in so much better, and they didn't do it. They just couldn't be arsed. And so basically, long story short, the mirror universe is the flipping nexus from Star Trek Generations, where you can go in there, but you can't leave, and you pretty much can have anything you want. The universe can manifest itself, but it needs people inside of it for reasons, I don't know. People exist in this mirror universe or dimension or whatever that are dead, and living people get drawn in. So the Doctor does try and open up the mirror with the sonic, but the mirror is now the Borg and can adapt. Because it can adapt now to her sonic screwdriver. To rip off another thing from Star Trek. And to go one further, this is what really got me on this episode. Yaz suggests reversing the polarity. Give me a second for that. Yaz decides to suggest to the Doctor to reverse the polarity of the sonic screwdriver. And she does it, and it works. And it's a good idea. I would have laughed or enjoyed this series a little bit more, this episode a little more, if the Doctor said, yeah, that only works in Star Trek or something. That's not real science. That's technobabble. Something like that. That doesn't mean what you guys think it means. Reversing the polarity. and now it's not even the joke. It is that it actually works. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this anymore. 3 out of 10. Because you reversed the freaking polarity, but sure, whatever. So the Nexus Mirror Monster people are some sort of energy beam thing that made a world for humans so they can be with humans? I don't know. So since Graham's wife is here, so they want Graham there, they want the dad there, they're just lonely. They're just lonely, misunderstood, mirror universe monster people. Yeah. So, of course, the girl's dad, Eric, wants to stay, but the Doctor convinces the entity here that's possessed, or that's posing as the girl's mom, Eric's wife, to keep the Doctor instead, because the Doctor's a much more valuable prize. Eric's just some grieving widower with a kid, and the Doctor has actually been through space and time and lived forever, and yeah, so the Doctor says, yeah, you want me instead of him. What the hell you want him for? So, of course, then that's the last final straw to get the dad out of the Nexus, because he's like, you're not my wife, you chose the Doctor over me, or whatever. He's all heartbroken. They have this move where they zap the people, where they just use their hand and they zap the people, whatever entity from this mirror thing is. I don't know if there's one or there's more than one. It seems like there's more than one, but they can manifest into more than one thing. I don't know. It's such a cluster jumble mess of a series. But yeah, so It's a frog. It's a frog. The entity that took the form of Grace, took the form of the dead wife, is now taking the form of a frog, because Grace, Ryan's grandmother, Graham's wife, she had a frog necklace that they mention and they show. She liked frogs. This frog is in charge of a whole galaxy, mind you. It's basically like a Q. It's a talking frog with the voice of Grace, Ryan's grandmother, in Doctor Who. And she's talking to it like it's seriously supposed to be. So yeah, the talking frog decides to send her back so that they can be friends forever and ever and ever, because that's the only way that the Doctor will be friends with the frog, is to be sent back to the regular universe. Because if not, then the Doctor will be very cross with the frog, and you're a very bad frog if you steal the. I don't even know anymore how to make fun of this. This episode, I think, broke me. I think this is the one that broke me. Talking frog. Okay. It's a talking frog. It's cute. Don't get me wrong. It's. Did you guys watch this episode? What do you guys think of this episode? Tell me in the comment section below. This might be where I'm out. I don't know. I don't know if I want to come back and reveal the last one. I mean, there is only one more. But thank you guys so much for watching. Holy crap. I don't even know what to think. But if you enjoyed my review of this, I did review every other episode in the series. I've got a lot of Doctor Who content. Thank you so much. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, click the notification bell. It's a talking frog. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just. It's a talking frog. It's a talking frog. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. It's a talking frog. Oh my god, it is a talking frog. We'll see you guys on the next video or live stream.